Marjorie Taylor Greene has continued forward with her attempts to oust Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House, verbally upping her attacks against him and signaling she would like the vote to happen as soon as next week. However, things might not be as easy for Marjorie as they were for Matt Gaetz, starting with Matt Gaetz himself not being on board for these shenanigans, as well as it seems a majority of Republicans, and Trump himself has came out against doing this, though that hasn't stopped Marjorie from marching forward and attempting to destroy the Republican Party from within.
I'm the biggest supporter of President Trump, and that's why I proudly wear this MAGA hat. I fight for his agenda every single day, and that's why I'm fighting here against my own Republican conference to fight harder against the Democrats. Mike Johnson has fully funded the Department of Justice that wants to put President Trump in jail, giving him a death sentence. He fully funded the FBI that raided Mar-a-Lago and gave them a brand new building. He fully funded Biden's wide open border. I know everybody knows, the American people know, and every voter that's ready to line up and vote for President Trump in November knows between me and Mike Johnson who's supporting President Trump and his agenda.
And she's actually right here, playing the obstructionist, verbally degrading anyone who disagrees with you, not getting anything meaningful passed in legislation, blocking bills that would help the American people, and then blaming it on the Democrats. So you have something to run on at least. This is the Trump agenda to a T. It just comes down to optics, and Trump is at least smart enough to stop attacking elected Republicans during an election year when he's hoping to keep a majority. While it seems that Marjorie doesn't have that kind of foresight and is just ready to nuke everything right now.
That's what this is. The Uniparty is Make Ukraine Great Again. The Uniparty is all about funding every single foreign war. They think this is the business model that needs to be done. There you go. Got that up there. Yeah, thank you.
This is truly such a naive and juvenile way to view things, especially geopolitical things. Like, oh, because they're protecting the sovereignty of Ukraine, they have to be ignoring America. No, for one, Republicans are the one blocking bills that they're saying are such big issues for America, like the border. Democrats were ready to work bipartisanly. Republicans were not. But also, protecting Ukraine is the best way to keep us out of a war. It's tiring saying this over and over again, but it's no less true that if Putin has Ukraine and decides to invade Poland, we would be forced to invoke Article 5, NATO ally, and we would then have to put boots on the ground, and we would be in a pretty big global war. The best way to prevent this from happening is stopping his expansion aggressions before Ukraine. And as we've covered at length, the bulk of Ukraine aid doesn't even leave America. It goes to our manufacturers and contractors, which creates jobs and boosts GDP growth.
A vote of conscience that every single member of the House Democratic Caucus will make a decision on based on their assessment of the situation. Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar, and myself, joined by many others, have taken the position that it's time to end this chapter of pro-Putin obstruction amongst the extreme MAGA Republican wing on the other side of the aisle. And we're prepared to do just that.
So there you have it from the man who speaks for the majority of Democrats. Her motion to vacate is dead because the Democrats are not going to play ball with MAGA, just wanting to bring chaos down upon Washington, punishing someone for passing Ukraine aid, which, by the way, if the Democrats voted with Republicans on that right after Mike Johnson passed Ukraine aid, it just makes it twice as likely that whoever the next speaker is refuses to touch Ukraine aid, which leaves Ukraine in an even more dire position. So I think they're making the right decision. Stop letting Putin control our government and people influenced by Putin make these decisions. And as bad as Mike Johnson is, as much as he should not and never should have been the speaker, the one time he did his job and legislated shouldn't be what gets him vacated from office. And again, would set a horrible precedent for any future Republican speaker to truly fear MAGA and bend to their will because they're going to get their way. But this shows no, they will not.